Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Policy Review Committee meeting, Monday the 16th of February 2026. I'd now declare that the Policy Review Committee meeting open at 6 p.m. As presiding member, I confirm that the City of Wanneroo Standing Orders Local Law 2021 will apply to the proceedings of this meeting. And I also wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on, the Whadjuk people. We would like to pay respect to the elders of the Noongar Nation, past, present and future, who have walked and cared for the land, and we acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contributions made to the life of this city and this region. Please note that audio-visual proceedings of tonight's meeting will be live broadcast online, with the exception of matters discussed behind closed doors. The broadcast of the proceedings of the meeting can be accessed live and on demand through the City of Wanneroo YouTube channel. Item 1, attendances as per the record. Item 2, apologies and leave of absence. We have Councillor Moore, who is on parental leave. We have Councillor Smith, who's an apology this evening, and Councillor Bedworth will be attending electronically, but he's not currently online, and I believe the Mayor has already approved that. So once Councillor Bedworth joins, we'll let him in. All right, just going through my agenda. Item 3, public questions. We don't have anyone in the gallery this evening. Item 4, confirmation of minutes, that the minutes of the Policy Review Committee meeting held on the 1st of December 2025 be confirmed. So could I grab a mover, Councillor Rowe, and a seconder, Councillor Berry. Is there anyone object to that? No. Are we doing voting? Yep. All right, voting is electronic tonight. And that is carried unanimously. All right, we move to item 5, reports. So item 5.1 is ordinary council meetings and forums of council policy, amendment to the policy, which starts on page 2, and the recommendation is on page 4. I will start off with questions and then I'll go to a mover and seconder, but first I'll hand over to Ms Coles.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to seek an amendment to the policy to allow meetings to be convened on the second Monday of the month, being the day before an agenda briefing. So there are 21 Mondays that comply with the policy and 29 meetings that need to be convened, leaving a shortfall of 8 Mondays. Allowing meetings to be held on the second Monday of the month will increase the Mondays that comply with the policy to 32, providing administration sufficient Mondays to schedule meetings.
Thank you, Ms Coles. Do I have any questions from the committee? No questions. So I'll then go to a mover and seconder for the recommendation. So the mover is Deputy Mayor Miles, and a seconder, Councillor Berry, is seconding that. Do I have anyone against the recommendation this evening? Are you wishing to speak, Councillor Rowe? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I certainly appreciate the need for greater flexibility. However, this is yet another request for a minor variation, and it demonstrates the unintended consequences and issues that were raised consistently during the initial development and the review of the policy. The apparent lack of ability to get this policy right, balancing and accommodating Council's existing meeting schedule, which was known at the time of its adoption and its review, shows why I continue to hold no confidence in this policy.
Thank you, Councillor Rowe. And my apologies, I forgot to go to the mover and seconder if they wish to speak to the item. So, Deputy Mayor Miles, did you wish to speak to the item?
Thank you, Chair. Look, I'm very happy with the report administration has put up, understanding that we have added as a council more meetings for us to attend, and in the format that we are wanting to do them. So at this stage, I'm happy to support the Council Administration's report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Berry as the seconder.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing to add above what Deputy Mayor Miles has just said. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. So we've had Councillor Rowe against. Councillor Seif, I saw you also indicated that you wish to speak against the item. Is that correct?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So can I just confirm that this means that we're effectively doubling or potentially doubling the number of ordinary council meetings?
Ms Coles?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Seif. So these will be meetings on a Monday. There'll be meetings of committees. So at the moment, I think there's 8 committee meetings that we don't have Mondays available to schedule meetings. So there'll be additional committee meetings.
Any further questions? No? Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against the item? None indicated. Then we'll go to the Deputy Mayor Miles. Any closing remarks? No? All right, we'll go to the vote on that item. So, yep, so that is carried 6-1. So the councillors for is myself, Mayor Aitken, Councillor Berry, Councillor Figg and Deputy Mayor Miles. And the councillor against was Councillor Rowe. So we now move to item 5.2, the Civic Events Policy, which starts on page 32 and the recommendation is on page 34. So this one is Madonna.
Good afternoon, councillors and mayor. We're wanting to bring the civic event policy to review. It's the civic events have transitioned from community in place to legal and governance. So we've wanted to bring this review of the policy forward, and the main changes, well, they're really only minor changes, are the definition of key in the key section, and in clause 6.1, the broadening of the scope of what may be considered as a civic event. And also in under clause 7, we're just changing the word from will to may, just to make it align with legislation. Importantly, these changes are not altering the fundamental intent of the policy, nor do they expand council's commitment or financial exposure. We did obtain legal advice and we have undertaken internal consultation and benchmarking against comparable local governments as part of the review of this policy. We also discussed this with council members at a concept forum in December. Then we also asked if the council could consider the Civic Event 2026 events calendar as presented in attachment 4.
Thank you for that. Questions from the committee? Councillor Figg and then Councillor Seif.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering if we could get an idea of how much was spent on the legal advice for this, please.
Ms Coles?
I wouldn't be able to hazard a guess at that one. I'd have to take it on notice. I do know the lawyer well that does the advices, so it is usually in the ballpark of $2,000 to $3,000.
Councillor Figg, any further questions? Councillor Seif.
Thank you, Chair. I did read in the report that changes or new events can be recommended and considered. So I just wanted to check if we vote on the 2026 Civic Events Annual Calendar tonight, that doesn't preclude us from making any new recommendations for the 2026.
Madonna?
Thank you for your question, Councillor Seif. That doesn't preclude us suggesting changes, but it will be reliant on budget and approval from the CEO in line with the policy.
Councillor Seif, any further questions? Any further questions from committee members? None indicated, so I will grab a mover for the item, Councillor Rowe, and a seconder, Councillor Seif. So the recommendation is on page, sorry, I'm just pulling it up, 34. To the mover, Councillor Rowe, did you want to add any remarks?
Only to acknowledge the work that the team has done to prepare this document over several months. I've looked at the 2026 Civic Events annual calendar, and I just want to credit the team for taking the feedback on board, including our state and federal members, in terms of an event, because we understand that advocacy as a local government, particularly at the city, has never been more important than it is now, and having an event that really harnesses that potential is great to see within the calendar. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Rowe. And Councillor Seif, as seconder.
Just to say that I really love our civic events, and so do all the people that attend, and every time I show up, and it really makes the community happy and they feel seen and acknowledged and appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Seif. Mayor?
Sorry, I just want to ask a question. I tried to see this. In June, we've got the state and federal members cocktail style event. We looked at that and there weren't many spare weeks in that month that they weren't sitting, but in July they're not sitting, and I thought it might be better to have that in July, and we were going to move the QPS acknowledgement dinner to June and just swip them. But on this statement we've got here, we've still got the state and federal members style event in June. Was that correct? And are we able to just flip those two? Just so that we've got more likelihood of getting our state and federal members together in July during the break.
Madonna?
Thank you for the question, Mayor Aitken. That is correct. I did change those two around, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to the attachment. But we will, we did take that on board, that the sitting in June is not conducive to getting a lot of the state and federal members to attend. And we were, well, our plan was to change the QPS to June and the state and federal to July to accommodate more attendance.
Thank you.
So I've just received some advice from the CEO for the recommendation part 2, which is as shown in attachment 4. Is the committee happy to have an understanding that those two are switched around, or is the committee of the view of a formal recommendation, considering that's what the administration's attachment was supposed to be? Deputy Mayor Miles?
On my events, it does say a QPS is June and July is the state, so you want to swap them over. Is that right?
No,
so is yours agenda correct then?
Yeah, so what was we doing, Administrator?
So Madonna?
So the attachment I thought I had corrected to have QPS in June and state and federal in July.
Can I just say, I think our hard copy is different to what's on the electronic copy.
Okay.
And that's why Councillor Miles has got it correct to what we discussed, and what we've got, what I've got here is a bit different, that's all.
So if the committee is happy to go off the electronic version, so we'll take that as the correct version without any amendment, but the administration and hopefully the committee understand that. Is that okay with the committee? I'm not seeing any objection. Deputy Mayor Miles?
Just further to that, but at any time I'm assuming that the FACE committee could add or take out or move anyway. So at this stage, this is a locked-in time, but we need to be a bit flexible with some of our dates.
So from my recollection, FACE committee no longer includes civic events, but I'll hand over to the administration if they want to provide a further response. Madonna?
Thank you for the question. No, FACE committee, we don't take these calendar events to FACE committee anymore. It comes to council for a decision, and if councillors would like to rearrange, or if administration would like to reschedule, it will come back for a decision of council.
Councillor Seif?
Question?
Yes.
So I know when we workshop this, for want of a better word, I made a suggestion about having a look at an event for our Aboriginal Australians, perhaps something for our elders. Was that considered?
And Madonna?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Seif. We did consider a number of requests that councillors put forward to us that will be taken on notice for the next calendar year.
Councillor Seif, any further questions?
So I'm just a little bit confused because just earlier I asked whether we could still make recommendations and considerations for this calendar year, and the response just then has made me think any new requests will only be considered for the next calendar year. So I'm confused now.
Madonna?
Sorry to confuse you. Councillor Seif, that's administration can make those changes or suggestions, but councillors can take their suggestions and requests to the Mayor and CEO.
Councillor Seif, any further questions?
Can I ask why those requests, why there's nothing on them in the report?
Yep, Madonna?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Seif. We added to the Queensland, the police and the state and federal this round, and we will have to workshop and discuss how we could fit in the other. I think there's about 4 other suggestions of different types of events that the civic event team would like the civic event team to look into. To have those ready for you now, we just didn't have the time, but they can definitely bring them up. Yep.
I'm just going to pause there as Councillor Bedworth has just joined us. Councillor Bedworth, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Is it the same?
Beautiful. I will just get you to quickly read out your declaration, if that's possible.
Not really. I'll try and make it up. I declare that I can, in accordance with the Act, that I can maintain confidentiality whilst I'm electronically attending. Hope that covers it.
Thank you, Councillor Bedworth, and I think that's pretty good. All right, just heading back to
just a point of clarification, please, Chair, while you're sitting up there.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
We just asked Councillor Bedworth to read out the statement of a public meeting. This meeting is already going live. It is public, so we're not behind closed doors. So I'm trying to understand why that is still remaining on public-facing meetings.
Ms Coles.
Thank you for the question, Deputy Mayor Miles. So the requirement is if for any reason we do go behind closed doors, we need to understand that the councillor would be able to maintain confidentiality if necessary at that stage, yes. All
right, Councillor Seif, are there any further questions? No. Councillor Rowe, I believe you had your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to say I'm comfortable with the idea of trying to schedule the state and federal member event during the parliamentary recess. It's more of an operational point, but perhaps the administration can reach out to those various members in advance to find out particular dates where they're on leave, because that recess period may mean interstate or overseas travel. And if the intent is to maximise attendance, we want to be able to select a date that really gets the maximum value for that.
Thank you, Councillor Rowe. Any further questions from the committee? None indicated. So I believe we've got a mover, Councillor Rowe, and seconder, Councillor Seif. So we'll go to the vote now. Councillor Bedworth, you may need to turn your camera on, or if you can send a message in the chat indicating your vote, please.
I vote in favour if I can do it already.
Thank you, Councillor Bedworth. So that is 8-0, carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. So moving on to 5.3, review of council members' use of council crest policy, which starts on page 47 and the recommendation is on page 48. I will hand over to Ms Coles.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. This is a 3-year review of the council members' use of council crest policy. So there's no major changes to the operation of the policy that impacts the use of the council crest in any way. The minor changes to reflect changes to titles of city staff and to realign to the strategic implications of the new council plan and to realign the definitions of the council crests so that they reflect what's actually in the Australian Trademarks Register. So the policy is intended to deal with the use of the council crest by council members only. The policy doesn't deal with administration's use of the crest on the agendas and minutes. These are undertaken by the administration as part of routine administration functions.
Thank you, Ms Coles. Did I have any questions from the committee? None indicated. I will ask one. Was there any requests in the previous financial year by any council member under the policy?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Wright. Not what that we're aware of in the register.
Thank you. All right, so I'll grab a mover and seconder for this item. Councillor Figg is moving and a seconder. Councillor Berry is seconding. Councillor Figg, did you want to add any remarks?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Figg. And Councillor Berry?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. So is there anyone opposed to the recommendation? None indicated. We'll go to the vote. And Councillor Bedworth?
Yeah, I'm in favour of that one as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So that is 8-0 carried unanimously. So we'll go to 5.4, which starts on page 62, and the recommendation is on page 63. I'll hand over to Ms Coles.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So this report is a request to extend the review date for the risk management policy. So the policy is due for review towards the end of March. However, we're looking for an extension to the 30th of June to realign with the risk management projects that's undergoing at the moment. So Council recently had the risk appetite workshop, and we've got another risk appetite workshop and risk register workshop coming up in the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Coles. Is there any questions from the committee? Councillor Rowe and then Councillor Figg.
Thank you, Chair. Just in terms of what's written on page 62, obviously this committee doesn't have the delegated authority to approve an extension for a framework. Does the administration think there are any potential consequences for that framework being delayed out several months? Is there anything that the administration is aware of that could be a consequence of that delay?
Ms Coles.
Thank you for the question. So the administration is currently working with the risk management consultant. We don't see that there's any issues with the framework being delayed, but the framework will look quite different to the current framework that we have because it will be realigned to Council's new risk appetite statement.
Councillor Rowe, any further questions? None indicated. Councillor Figg.
Thank you, Chair. And I'll preface this by saying you might see a pattern emerging with my questions from here on out throughout meetings for the rest of the year. But may I ask what the cost of the consultant was for this, please?
Ms Coles.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Figg. I will have to take that on notice and get you the breakdown of the work that the consultant's undertaking. Thank you.
Any further questions from the committee? None indicated, so we'll go to a mover. Anyone? Deputy Mayor Miles, and the Mayor is seconding. Deputy Mayor, did you have any remarks you wish to add? None indicated. Mayor? None indicated. Is there anyone opposed to the recommendation? No, so we'll go to the vote. Councillor Bedworth?
Again, I'm in favour of the recommendation. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Bedworth. So that's carried 8-0. That item is carried unanimously. So going to page 64, item 6 confidential, we have none. Item 7 late reports, we have none. Item 8 date of the next committee. So the next policy review committee has been scheduled for 6 p.m. on Monday the 15th of June 2026 to be held in the council chamber. Item 9 closure, the meeting now closes at 6:25 p.m. Thank you councillors and staff.
Thanks everyone.